Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. A bitch is back talking about books. Editing camera here. Before I start off this video, I want to say this is a newer format that I'm trying. So it's kind of a reading vlog, but I've never done a reading vlog before. So when I was editing it, it kind of came out like just a regular schmegular review and theories and things like that. So it's gonna be half reading vlog, half review type of situation, just me rambling about my thoughts on the book. So if you like that, enjoy. If you don't, I'm very sorry, but thank you so much for watching. This is my thoughts on A Court of Silver Flames.
I am an idiot. I am an absolute idiot because I saw a comment. Thank you so much for commenting on my videos, by the way. Hallie said, you need to read A Court of Silver Flames and vlog it. Looking forward to your reaction. And I was like, I am a dumbass bitch. I am so fucking stupid because that is such a great idea. I should have vlogged it. But by the time that I uploaded that, I'm already halfway through the book. And I didn't get to vlog it, but I already had so many reactions to things. So half of this video is going to be me vlogging it, and the other half is going to be right now talking about my thoughts about the first half, if that makes sense. So thank you so much for that comment, dear Callie. So let me start off by saying that when I first opened this book, I thought it was hilarious. Mind that I did not make my bed, okay? Whatever. I thought it was so funny because TikTok really influenced me. TikTok has influenced the shit out of me because I opened up the first chapter. I read this book and they discuss about like the manor and Feyre's house in Valeris and talking about how all over the house, about like the furniture, etc., all over the house, there are paintings that Feyre has made everywhere. And I could not help but cackle at the idea of Feyre's paintings all over the house. And then they talk about how like Cassian is inside Rhys's office and there's a self-portrait that Feyre made of herself behind Rhys, like in his office. And I thought it was so funny because this is all I could imagine. I imagined this behind Rhys. Like the most horrible, ugly picture of Feyre. Because everyone on TikTok just collectively understands that we all think Feyre is just probably not a good artist. And I think it's hilarious. I start cackling because every time they mention her paintings, I just could not stop laughing. I'm on page 346. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts a little bit on what I've had for the first 346 pages. And I didn't get to vlog it, so I'll just talk about it right now. I do have some theories about things, and the first thing I will point out was on page 338, I believe. They talk about, like, Cassian and Nesta are talking, and they talk about, like, how the house, like, okay, so this is what Nesta says at the very top. Basically, Cassian's like, oh, I want to fuck you, basically, everywhere. Like, yes, on this table, on this chair, on every surface of the house, like, I want to fuck you. And Nesta responds, I don't think the house would appreciate such filthy behavior, even if it's a romance reader as well. And then he's all confused, like, what? They kept talking so much about how this house listens to Nesta and things like that. And I don't know if it's just, maybe this is a theory in my head, but I have a theory that the house is not just a house. There's like a person behind it, kind of like with Encanto, how Bruno was doing a lot of things, kind of like a Bruno type person in the house. Also, this book did remind me of Encanto a lot because of that aspect. Maybe there's a person behind it. I don't even know if that makes sense. Also, another theory, and this one goes so off the rails, but I'm really hoping that in like 10 years, Sarah J. Maas, I think I'm giving her way too much credit, or like maybe, I don't know, she's like a mastermind of something. I feel like there could be Avengers Endgame level type craziness to the end of the series because we don't know when the series is going to end. You know what I mean? We know how Sarah J. Maas does her twists and turns. I screamed. When I read this, I screamed. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. They talked about, I think it was on 225. This is the first time they talk about the dead trove and how they need 3 things, and they explain those 3 things. The objects are the mask, the harp, and the crown. The mask can raise the dead. It is a death mask, molded from the surface of a long-forgotten king. Wear it and you may summon the dead to you, command them to march at your will. And this is where I started screaming. Because I read Throne of Glass, okay? I read Throne of Glass. I know how that series ends. How, like, portals and shit like that. And then they go, the harp can open any door, physical or otherwise. Some say between worlds. And I read that and I had to mark it. What if there was a crossover? Spider-Man No Way Home type shit, Avengers Infinity War type shit, like down the line, 5-10 books from now, Sarah J Maas is gonna do a crossover between Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses in like the Sarah J Maas multiverse, and have this book where both of these two books and book characters and book like worlds have to come together and try to defeat this like bigger bad or bigger evil. And I was like, I don't know why I have this in my head. Sarah J Maas has this thing where like she doesn't say things just to say things. Like there's always kind of a reason behind it. And I'm like, is this bitch thinking about something up ahead, like in the near future? But I don't know. The last thing I wanted to mention was, I think I watched too much TikTok. People thought Elaine could be evil. And now I actually believe that shit. Because first of all, fuck Elaine. I do not like her. I don't like her. And like maybe if she has her own book, maybe I'll start liking her. But I don't like Elaine. The sisters, like they're so overprotective of Elaine. I think one day she's just gonna crack. Elaine is just gonna crack and turn evil. And they talk about the cauldron, right? And there's this one scene, Azriel says there's an innate darkness to the dread trove that Elaine should not be exposed to, right? Because they want to protect her. He says that because they want to protect Elaine. They're like so protective of her for no fucking reason. That I felt like, what if that's play on words? Like, what if it's like there's an innate darkness to the dread trove that Elaine should not be exposed to? Should she not be exposed to it because they don't want to harm her? Or should she not be exposed to that innate darkness because it's gonna make her even darker? Because that darkness is gonna like overcapture her and then she's gonna turn evil. And also Elaine's too fucking quiet. She's too quiet. Like, I don't know, there's something wrong with her. Like, I don't fucking like her. Anyway, and then they even say, including Elaine, who is more than capable of defending herself against the darkness of the trove if she chooses to. Don't underestimate her. Don't underestimate Elaine. And I feel like throughout this entire series, 4 or 5+ books long, everybody has been underestimating Elaine. And I really feel like Nesta and Feyre try so hard to like protect her, that if she is the big bad, it's gonna be a huge character thing where it's like they spent so long protecting her, now they have to like fight her. And there's just so many hints to Elaine. There's like something about her that I kind of believe the theories about her being evil, because these play on words, man. So far, my thoughts on the book is that I like how character driven this is. Nesta isn't my favorite character ever, but I do like appreciate the thing about Sarah J Maas is that she is very character focused and character driven, and all of the characters go through so much internal things and they have an internal journey that they go throughout all of the books. And I don't think people give her enough credit for it. Like, everyone always shits on her about like, oh, her writing's this way, her writing's that way, etc., etc. But I think she has a huge, really good understanding of people, and that's why people are so in love with her characters, right? That's why we see so many edits of these characters and we will make memes about them and being like, wow, that is such a Cassian thing to do, because they feel so real and realized. I do like the journey that Nesta, her internal journey of healing that she's on right now, and I like that her battle, her like training has become a kind of therapy for her. Yeah, that's all I'll have to say for now. Though she fought back against Thomas, against the cauldron, against the King of Hybern, they had all happened to her. She had survived, but she had been helpless and afraid. Not today. Today, she would happen to him. Period, queen! Okay, so I'm reading this part, right? When they take the vote on Nesta, if she should know about the sword and stuff, and then Feyre barges in when Nesta talks to Amren, and then Nesta has this whole conversation about, oh, respect, Amren, you're my friend, I offer her respect. Is respect that she offers you, is it respect your mate offers you? Feyre and still, don't you say one more fucking word, Nesta, what do you mean? And then they say, oh, that babe in your room is gonna kill you. Shut your mouth. What do you mean? The wings, the boy has the laying wings. And then she has this whole thing. And I'm like, period, Nesta, period. You are right. And everyone's talking to Nesta like she's wrong. But this is the one moment where I'm like, Nesta is fucking right. She says, okay, but your mate ordered everyone not to inform you the truth. Did you talk about her, judge her, deem her unworthy of the truth? Like, give Feyre some fucking autonomy. Like, you didn't tell her that she was literally about to die. Like, what are you doing? Like, she's right about this. And I got so fucking mad. Like, why are you gonna do this to my boy Reese? Why are you gonna make me mad at my Reese, okay? I love him. He's the love of my life. And they make him seem as if, oh, he and Amryn are the ones in the right, saying like, oh, get Nesta out of the city right now before I fucking kill her. Shut the fuck up, Reese. Literally shut the fuck up. This is one time Nesta's actually right about something. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay, I'm reading chapter 50, and this shit is good character stuff for Nesta. Making me cry a little bit, but it's good. It's okay. This whole section on 504, I should have found a way to save us before then, save Elaine and Feyre when we were poor, but I was so angry, you know, ... I let Feyre go into that forest and told myself I didn't care. I close my eyes and I see her that day she went hunting, see Elaine going to the cauldron. I see her taken by the war, my father dead. I hate it. Every part of me that does these things, and yet I can't stop it. I can't let that barrier down, because to let it fall, to let everything in, this is what would happen. The shrieking, weeping mess she'd become. I can't bear to be in my head. I can't bear to hear and see everything over and over. That's all I hear. The snapping of his neck, his last words to me, that he loved me. I didn't deserve that love. I deserved nothing. I'm like, girl, low-key cannot relate. Like, I've never felt this deeply depressed and also suicidal, because she has felt suicidal, but it's so emotionally resonant, and it's something that Cassian later on says that he relates to. Hey, so I have 100 pages left of A Court of Silver Flames. I want to finish it. I'm almost done. I was at work reading this on my 30-minute break. I got to the ataraxia section. Sarah J. Maas and her names, I swear to God. The ataraxia section. This is the last section of the book. I'm on the final part, and I just passed the part where they finally admit to each other, oh, like, I'm your mate, I've known it since the beginning, and you know, that shit. The mates trope with Sarah J. Maas is kind of getting a little redundant, because I would love, and I hope, and I pray, and I think this is what Sarah J. Maas will do with her next book, is that the love story and the romance that's gonna be in the next A Court of Thorns and Roses book will be with people who aren't mates, who have rejected the mating bonds and get with somebody else, because we've seen this mate thing over and over and over again. I like that Cassian and Nesta are mates. I do feel like this romance, though I really love it, and the character progression in it, and Nesta's journey, I really, really love it. I do feel as if it's a little bit underwhelming so far. I'm not trying to compare it at all with Akomath at all, but I feel like what I felt reading that, the reveal, you know, chapter 54, the big reveal, and the confession of feelings, and that whole thing, it gutted me, you know. And I think with this pacing maybe in this book is a little bit of an issue with me, just a little bit, okay, just a little bit, because I actually really do like this book. But in the beginning, it's very kind of slow, right? Because it gets to be Nesta just, you know, training, library, home, training, library, home, training, library, home. And it goes over and over until you get to the midway point, and then you get all plot. And it's mostly plot when they talk about the three, like the trove stuff. Then the romance takes a back burner. So all of that lead up for the first third of the book, where it was just, you know, training, the library and stuff like that, it kind of goes away to focus on the plot aspect. And then Nesta, she went to the ball, she tried to capture Eris and things like that. Going back to that and back to the romance and Cassian being jealous, I feel like there could be more. I don't know if that makes sense. Just read the part where they basically saw Aelin in the sky because it was a rare red star in the sky that Reese saw. I was like, that's Aelin, bitches. So I'm almost done. Also, by the way, my theory was wrong. Encanto, Bruno house theory was wrong. It was just that Nesta literally made the house. She's so powerful, she brought the house to life. Okay, I never read the acknowledgements, but I don't know why. I just started reading them. Let me just read it out, I guess. It says, coming to the end of this book was a journey years in the making in so many ways. From the initial pages that I jotted down while working on A Court of Wings and Ruin to the years since then spent drafting, revising, refining. But perhaps most important, this book was a companion during my own journey through the valleys and the mountains of mental health traveling alongside me as I faced all the jagged bits inside myself. While Nesta's story is in no way a direct reflection of my own experiences, there were moments in this book that I very much needed to write. Not just for the sake of these characters, but for myself. I hope some of these moments resonate and will remind you, dear reader, that you are loved and that you are worthy of love no matter what. Mass got me. She got me. That, I don't know why that hit. Because, I don't know my thoughts on this book. Like, I'm fresh off of reading it right now. Like, I literally just finished it and my hair's a mess. Let me take a few minutes to collect myself, maybe. Okay, my final thoughts. I literally just finished it a couple minutes ago, and I have to say right now, it's not my favorite. I still love Reese and Feyre the best. They are my number one. This book is not as smutty as everybody says it is. I don't know why everyone's like, oh my god, like, y'all are just reading fairy smut, blah, 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 blah.
Can I live? Can I live? Can I fucking live?
This book is 750 pages long. The smut was not a majority of this at all. There was maybe like at most 5 scenes. And what I do like about it though, about the smut part, is that a lot of it moved the story forward. Obviously not every scene. Some of it was just in there to be, in there. But I think that a lot of it did move the plot forward. And I love smut like that. I love scenes like that. Especially, when it's solstice and the bond clicks, stuff like that, where you feel their emotional journey change through the smut scenes. I love that shit. I eat that shit up, okay? Just like Cassian eats Nesta out. Anyway, I really liked this book for the emotional journey that you go through for Nesta, because if you read the first pages, and I'm thinking back on last week when I first started this book, I remember reading the first pages and thinking she's so different than the end. Understand her in that sense, the romance takes a back burner because it's not about the romance. Emery, I don't feel like I know too much about her. And Gwen, like, people are like, oh, Asriel and Gwen, they have to get together, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, how? I understand it, like, oh, they had, like, looks across from each other every now and then. But besides Gwen's monologue about her trauma and her past, you don't see a lot of who she is, her personality, her backstory as much. The best side character that we really delved into and I found really interesting was Eris. I think Eris is not evil, and it's just like Cassian said, he's just a coward. And maybe he will have his own book in the future. And if he has his own book, it'll be his journey of growing up with all this wealth and all this privilege, but still not being able to stand up to his father when that whole thing happened with Mor, and having self-hate like that. So in all, I give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I feel like they butchered Reese's character a little bit. Reese was kind of annoying me in this. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I was like, oh my god, why is he being annoying right now? Anyway, the whole ending with Nesta using the harp and all that stuff, I felt like that whole thing kind of felt rushed. All the exciting stuff, in a lot of Sarah J. Maas books actually, the ending feels rushed all the time. Like the whole Ramiel thing, like climbing the mountain, and then right after Cassian gets like mind control, and then right after Feyre's giving birth, like it happened within the span of the last 100 to 50 pages. And I was like, whoa, why are we going so fucking fast? Like, this is supposed to be Nesta's book. This is supposed to be Nesta's journey. You don't really get much of Cassian, which I kind of feel like I wish we did get more of. Still, it is Nesta's book. And I think Cassian and Nesta as a couple, they work. I just didn't really feel it in my bones like I did with Rhys and Feyre in book 2 in Akamath. And I think that ending where Nesta defeats the human queen, I forget his name, Brelin or whatever the fuck her name is, I don't know. And then right after, Azriel and Mor come in and they're like, oh, Feyre's giving birth. Like, that happened way too fast, in my opinion. This is Nesta's book. Like, relax a little bit. Let me, seep in the glory that Nesta won this thing. But now, then we have to go back to Feyre and be, like, we're on this emotional roller coaster for the last 50 pages. And I was like, whoa. But anyway, I liked this book a lot. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.